Good morning. Good morning. Sav here from Football Heritage TV. Hope you are all well. Breaking news on this Friday morning. Get ready for your weekends. What are you doing? What are you doing? Because I tell you what, the breaking news means that Patrick Vieira isn't going to be doing his day job. Crystal Palace have sacked Patrick Vieira. What does everyone make of that? And I've seen lots of debates flying around social media in regards to, well, look, it was untenable. His run was terrible. He had to go. But let me come at it from a slightly different angle here to try and stick up for Patrick Vieira. First and foremost, Crystal Palace sit 12th in the Premier League, okay? And the gap between Crystal Palace and the teams below them, the 8 teams below them, to bottom of the table is 5 points. Okay, that looks scary, but it also means that there's 8 teams all in there going to be taking points off each other. So it's not as bad as if you were 5 points cast away at the bottom of the table. Second of all, the fact that they're 12th. Have a look at the teams above them, and you tell me, if I reel off these teams, you tell me any of these teams that you believe Crystal Palace should be above. Arsenal, Man City, Man United, Spurs. Easy ones out of the way. Newcastle, Liverpool, Brighton. Easy. They shouldn't be above any of them. Brentford and Fulham. You could argue they should be in front of Brentford and Fulham, 2 teams that have, one team that's just came up last year and another team that's been in the league 2 or 3 years. But both of those teams have a guy that will get you 20-odd goals in all competitions. We're talking about Alexander Mitrovic. We're talking about Ivan Toney. How on earth do Crystal Palace compete with that when they do not have a centre forward that scores more than 6-7 goals a year? Now, if you continue that, should they be above Chelsea in 10th? Aston Villa in 11th? Aston Villa have spent loads of money, and there's no point even talking about Palace being near Chelsea. Then, from Villa to Palace is the 8-point gap, which is putting this Premier League table into 2 leagues. So when I hear all this stuff that anyone in the league is strong, they're not. They're not. The bottom half of the table is poor and the top half of the table is the top half of the table. So the 8-point gap, I would ask you this. Should Palace be any higher than they are? That's it coming from the league position angle. Now, Crystal Palace in their last 13 Premier League games have played 12 of the teams above them. And I know you're probably thinking, well, there's not 12 teams above them, but they've played Brighton in there twice and somebody else in there twice. They have played 12 of the teams above them and not one. And the one game they did play against a team lower than them, Bournemouth, they did win. And the game before that, they did win against West Ham. So if you were a football chairman, wouldn't you be looking at this and saying, right, the games we've got coming up now, we've got all of those games out of the way. These are now the teams we pick up points from. Let's stick with Vieira. Wouldn't you have done that? What do they think the new manager coming in will do? He might get a new manager bounce because he's going to be playing all the lower teams now. All the teams in and around that are the same level or worse than Crystal Palace. So for me, I just don't think it makes any sense that you give this guy all of the difficult games. The Man Cities, the Man Uniteds, the Brightons, the Tottenhams, the Chelseas, the Liverpools, the Newcastles. But then when it's going to come up against the Southamptons, when it's going to come up against the Evertons and the Wolves, you sack the guy. It just makes football management look a bit of a mockery, doesn't it? He came in. What were they expecting? With that squad, with their budget, with the size of their stadium, etc., what were the Crystal Palace board expecting? Now, listen, I'm not a Palace fan. I don't have a dog in this race. I just look at it from a football fan point of view and go, it's crazy. Now, yes, the new manager might come in and win the next 1, 2, 3, and everyone goes, oh, the right decision. But realistically, guys and girls, tell me, where are Palace going to be next year if they stay up? Are we talking about Crystal Palace going to leapfrog those teams above them? I don't think so. Let me know what you think. I just think this is what football management has become now. No one is given any time. I think Crystal Palace play some decent football at times. Yes, they struggle to score goals, but they've also got a better defence than any of the teams below them in the league. Just double checking that. They've got the best defence of anyone in the bottom half. And then they've also got a better defence than Aston Villa, Fulham, and Tottenham. So they've got a better defence than 13 of the 20 Premier League clubs. They just can't score goals. They need a goal scorer. I'll leave this with you. What do you think? Crystal Palace. If there's any Crystal Palace fans, tell me what you think as well. Other fans, would you have sacked him? I think Crystal Palace are a pretty non-offensive club. I don't think anybody absolutely hates them unless you maybe Brighton or Charlton. But would you have sacked him? Let me know. Please subscribe. We're growing rapidly. Please subscribe to Football Heritage TV. We are now on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. So please subscribe to all of those above and join me at 4 p.m. as I'm joined by the 12th Man Football Podcast with Dan Potts as we discuss the European draw, the European results from yesterday, and we look forward to the Premier League games tomorrow. And I will be live tomorrow at 2:30 doing the live scores and for a football chit chat. Join me then on Football Heritage TV. I'm Sava. Leave your thoughts. Please subscribe. Much love.